Sometimes it's crazy to me for how long some of these films stay on the shelves. This one was done filming in 2020. Absolutely crazy. Chase Liaki here with the Blue Futon reviewing Reagan. So it's about pretty simple premise. We're following Reagan in the eyes of the Soviet Union of how he kind of dismantled the Soviet Union in the 80s and 90s. But also, we're going to discuss his backstory of what he was like as a child, Nancy Reagan, and just kind of everything about him in a quick 2-hour and 12-ish movie. So, did I like this film? I thought it was a pretty good biopic, which is pretty good. I think when it focused on between, I'm going to say, 76 to the end of his presidency, that was the best time the movie was actually having a focus. The other times when he was a child, him being a lifeguard, him being the vice president of SAG, those were good moments here and there, but I wish it expanded on it overall. So talk about the positives. I think Dennis Quaid does a good job. I'm not going to blame him for the makeup, but I think they could have done a little bit better job with his aging overall, because there were some scenes where you're just like, oh, that's Dennis Quaid just a little younger with some makeup or maybe some CGI. I couldn't tell, but there was some de-aging where I was like, wasn't the greatest, but overall, I think Dennis Quaid did a good job. I think all the other actors involved did a pretty good job of what it was supposed to be. Apparently, the lead singer of Creed played Frank Sinatra in this movie. I thought that was very interesting as well. The writing was fine. Like I said, that is probably one of the weaker points of trying to tell his overarching story, but it did good telling the political side of, the Berlin Wall, what happened with the Soviet Union, some of the things that happened in 84 during the second debate. Most of the stuff that happened with the terms, like especially the Iran crisis situation, was, again, I wish it expanded on that issue. And what really happened between 80 and 84 that made, quote-unquote, America hate him. They didn't really go into that. So I kind of wish it went into that, just a little more meat on that bone. I'll say one thing. After President Carter, who was probably one of the worst and pussiest presidents ever, Biden and fucking probably Harris because, anyway. Yeah, Carter was a goddamn mess. So getting Reagan in there was pretty damn quick. So I bet you he was kind of happy probably he didn't win the primaries that happened in 76, if I'm not mistaken, or 74. Something, again, that Harris didn't do. Anyway, continuing on, I think that's pretty good. When we discuss the technical aspects, another mixed bag in my opinion. There are some sprawling, gorgeous landscapes, probably like California, of him on his ranch and seeing just the openness of California. And I thought that was really good and had some good scenes here and there. When they were in the White House or on a plane, I felt like I was in those rooms. The good California screenwriter character, pretty good. Him being with the SAG, I thought was good. But then there was also other scenes where he's in a graveyard, and you'll know exactly what I mean. Pretty bad CGI/green screen. So it made me wonder if there were reshoots or what they were trying to do with some of the story elements to try to make it mish and mash. But I don't think it worked as well as it wanted to be. The score, pretty good. Like I said, I think the biggest fault for this movie is the actual writing and getting to know him. Like, there was one scene where it's like you're talking about Reagan, etc., etc. Then it goes straight back to him running away from bullies, and his mom saying, "Well, you better just fight them because they're going to happen. It's going to happen every single day." And yes, I understand the element they were trying to do with saying, this is where Reagan realized, okay, maybe he needs to stand up to quote-unquote bullies, in this case, the Soviet Union. But it was just kind of misplaced of like, yes, I understand, but I think it could have been told a little bit better rather than just randomly put in the story for that editing and story placement choice. There were good, but then again, I say that, but there's also good writing elements at the very end with the all-timers kicking in, and there was like, oh yeah, that sucks, and it's actually a good writing moment there. I know I've checked on Rotten Tomatoes, a lot of critics didn't like this movie, saying it's a Cliff Notes movie. Sure, you can say that, but wasn't the Barack Obama movie about meeting Michelle Obama a fucking Cliff Notes movie as well? But, oh, that's a gushing movie. So you could tell there is some biases through and throughout when it comes to political movies. It's interesting. I think there's more biases when it comes to political movies and religious movies. It used to be, I want to say, opposite, but it is what it is. So overall, Reagan, I think it's a well thought out story. If you want to know kind of what happened to Reagan from when he was, I would say, middle school, junior high to his Alzheimer's days, I do think it has a good history lesson when it comes to what happened, like I said, between 74 and the end of his presidency. I think it did give enough information to be like, okay, that must have occurred, that occurred. How many people were actually, stabbing him in the back? And it seems like now with President Trump, if you're not part of the club, they're going to backstab the living fuck out of you. But yes, Reagan, staying on the show for 4 years, kind of shocked. I liked how it was told in the Soviet perspective. I do like that it had some good found footage, even though I do wish maybe more found footage of like Reagan talking would have been better. Looked pretty good, acted pretty good, but I do think it was rushed in some scenes of making me wanting to know Reagan as a whole. Oh, and screw the commies. F the commies. So Reagan will receive a 3.5 out of 5 with Futon, which equals at 70%. So let's see the critics and user scores gave this one. So critics were at a 26%, audience score at 97%. I saw that coming. No critic consensus. 26, 70, 97. Chase Lock here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know things Bluetontopia. You Blue Futonians, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Watch us Tate tomorrow, week from now, month, and a year from now. We're single for one of you. Peace and love, peace and love. And this weekend, 8 movies in theaters. I'm fucking crazy.